All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, first off, just let me say thank you to the coaches from Brazil that we had in a Zoom meeting last night. We had some guys that were really willing to learn about the game of American football. They've been doing it for a little while. They've been coaching for a little while. So we had a great Zoom meeting with guys from Brazil last night. Thank you so much. They were awesome. Did it for about an hour and 45 minutes. It was a great time. I can't thank those guys enough. Remember to check out some of our partners, Dome Hats, which is the headwear company we use, Play Fast Football, the school that I'm currently at. This is one of my Rydell Protect and Perform hats. All right, from Dome Hats. Everything is customizable. They have an online custom hat builder where you can go on there, change the style of the hat, change the color of the panels, change the color of the buttons, the button on top. All right, you can change the color of the stitching. You can get embroidery on a hat. It's completely customizable. Every hat has a story. Make sure you let Dome help you tell your hat's story. All right. Baker Sporting Goods, which is the apparel company we use for our players, our spirit packs, coaches gear, like shirts like this. Anytime we do a team store with fan gear on it, or if we have items that the players may want to purchase, we do it through Baker Sporting Goods. So make sure you check them out. JustPlayFB, which is it's a digital software company that I use for playbook stuff, for webinar stuff. When we go to clinics, it's how I draw and diagram things. One of the drills, my pursuit drill that I had drawn up last night, I drew up in using JustPlay. All right, so it's a more powerful way to present your information. Make sure you check out JustPlayFB. GameStrat, the sideline replay system we use. All right, if you're looking for #1 choice for coaches to use a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, I 100% recommend GameStrat. Great customer service, great people. You will not be disappointed. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one that we use in our weight room. Work on elbows in, thumbs up, how to strike. All right, where your eyes go, working on your eyes on a target, coming out of a stance. You can work on different movements, one-gap movements, or offensive lineman zone techniques, or down block work, or whatever you want to work into the footwork, into the striking. All right, it's got different coils that you can change out to change the tension as the kids get better at striking. So make sure you check out DifferenceUSA, HighandTight ball security training aid that we have here at our school. It's got sensors in the different panels. You have to hold the ball in the exact correct position with the exact points of pressure in order to hear the beep. Auditory, all right, for the kids, so they hear it. When you hear the beep, you've got the ball in the right position. Now you've got that muscle memory built to know, if I hear the beep, that's the points of pressure, that's where the ball needs to be, that's where my wrist needs to be, that's where my forearm elbow needs to be. It needs to be tight to my rib cage, up high where I need it. As soon as I hear the beep, I know that I've got it right. Builds the muscle memory. If I don't hear the beep, obviously there's something wrong somewhere. I'm not holding the ball correctly. Make sure you check out HighandTight. So what I did last night on a Zoom talk with the guys from Brazil was we talked about building a practice plan, and then into drills and different drills that you would use. And when we came across some D-line stuff we were looking at, we came across some guys doing one-gap movement stuff, all right? And then I've seen some stuff on Twitter recently, guys talking about tooth and tail read, all right? So I'm just going to talk briefly about what that is, how we use it. So for us, when we're taking a defensive lineman and making a one-gap move with somebody coming into the gap that they are coming from, all right? So right here, it would be a defensive end and a backer coming off the edge, all right? What tooth or tail means is we tell that defensive end, all right, that is making that one-gap move, all right, he's got to read, he's got to understand what the tackle does, okay? So he's got to understand that if the tackle works down inside and you can't, all right, see his face, you've got to make sure that you can chase hard off the tail of that block, okay? We're trying to get to the B gap. We'd love to cross his face if we could, but if he does something that is not going to allow us to get us across his face, we have to chase his tail because we are bringing another guy off the edge, and the guy that's coming off the edge is probably going to be the contained player. All right, he's probably going to be the guy that has the outside portion of what we're doing. So we need to make sure that we don't have two guys in the same gap. All right, what tail would be, what tooth would be that player shows you his face, whether it be some type of out block, some type of pass set. You can see that player's face. He doesn't work inside away from you. So now that you can see his face, that's the tooth part of it. So we say if you can see, all right, teeth, you got to cross face. All right, if you see tail, you've got to chase and squeeze the tail. If you see teeth, you have to cross face. Why do you have to cross face? Because we've got somebody coming off the edge. Okay, now, the next thing that you got to be able to understand is within gap integrity is he now has to understand especially on the tooth portion of it. If he crosses face, he now has to understand he better recognize what is going on with the guard, because if he's not two gap moving, he's only one gap moving. Now if he gets, let's say, two out blocks like a zone scheme, he gets the tooth read on the tackle, so he's got to cross face. But now he's got to maintain outside leverage on the guard in order to stay in a B gap, all right? And now you bring that guy off the edge. That's how you have the B gap and the C gap accounted for. If you were if that was to the side of the 3 technique, you'd be doing the same thing with the 3 technique across the guard's face. And then the 3 technique would know that he's got a tooth read from the guard. But now when he gets into that A gap, you better realize, if it's a zone or a stretch or some type of scheme, better realize what the center's doing now, that next adjacent lineman, because you have to keep your gap integrity, because we're only going one gap, all right? It's not a 2 gap move, it's a 1 gap move. So it's a tooth or tail read, which very simply means, okay, if I see the tail end of that blocker and I can't get across his face, I've got to squeeze tight and chase the tail of that blocker. If he shows me his face or his teeth at all right, so that could be a block that works out to me in the run game. That could be a pass set. If I can see his face, I have to cross his face. If I can see his teeth, all right, and it's just it's a neat little term, tooth or tail, all right, that is, you know, I picked it up a long time ago. A lot of people use it. Just something that kids can remember, all right? Yeah, you can talk to them about, hey, if you see his face, cross his face. If you don't see his face, ends up being too many words. Once you describe tooth or tail, you can tell that kid every time, hey, got a tooth or tail read here, he should know exactly what you were talking about. Now, that's a little bit different, all right? Don't misunderstand. If you had a kid that you were allowing, all right, so maybe to a open B-gap side, if you had an end here, and let's say a nose in there, or if you were an odd front team, if you had an end that you were allowing to be a 2-gap player, and you were allowing him to cross face of any run blocks working out at him, that is not a tooth or tail deal, because if he gets a pass set, all right, if he gets a pass set, he probably remains, all right, the outside contained player in the pass rush. So even though he can see that player's face or his teeth on the pass set, he's not crossing face anymore, because that's not part of the movement. All right, we may want him being a 2-gap player in the run game, so that we say possibly, all right, we're giving him a read that if he gets any base or out blocks, we're going to allow him to beat those in the run game in the B gap, because maybe we have a gap, you know, maybe we have some type of slot set out here where we have a backer removed, and we think it's going to be very hard for that backer to get to the B gap in the run game, or maybe we're getting RPO'd, so we want that backer to hang in this window a little bit longer. We don't want him folding as quick into the B gap. All right, maybe the split of number 2 has got us out too wide. If we give this guy a call that allows him to 2-gap in the run game, that is not a tooth or tail read. There's a difference. We're not bringing another guy off the edge, so if he gets run blocks at him, he can do that, but if he gets a pass set, all right, he's got to make sure that he stays in his lane in the pass rush. All right, so a 2-gap technique like that would be different than a tooth or tail read, so when you're teaching your players, you wouldn't use in that 2-gap term, all right, whatever your call is for that offensive lineman that allows him to be under run blocks at him, okay, but he's got to set the edge if he gets pass sets. You're not going to tell that kid tooth or tail. It's not going to be the same teaching. It's not going to be the same buzzwords. I'm not going to use that system, buzzwords, whatever you want to call that, you know, the tooth or tail analogy. I'm not going to use that with the kid in the 2-gap move, because I'm not bringing anybody else off the edge. And again, I'm talking about a 2-gap player, not a 2-gap long stick. Please don't confuse what I'm talking about. This right here is what I would read for us, that we would allow the defensive end to go under into the B gap if it gets any run blocks coming at him. I don't mean a 2-gap long stick, all right? So please don't confuse those two. I mean that player being allowed to play the B gap from a 5 technique position, being allowed to play the B gap in a run game, being allowed to be behind reach blocks or behind zone blocks, because we're going to let the linebacker that's walked out play the C gap. So you wouldn't use the same analogy. That's not tooth or tail. As soon as we 1-gap move him inside and bring an edge blitzer, now we're going to tell him that that's a tooth or tail read. That's the way, all right, I use that analogy with my players, with my defensive linemen. That's usually when we're going to use the teaching methodology behind tooth or tail, and that's how we're going to explain it to them. All right, so again, thanks to those guys from Brazil. That's the second one I've done internationally. I did one with guys in Germany during the pandemic in April or May, about 5-6 months ago, 7 months ago, whatever it is now, and now I just did one in Brazil. Again, humbling experience when you're standing in an office in the United States, in Florida, in front of a camera by yourself, and all of a sudden now you can be on a Zoom call with people internationally in other countries because they want to learn the game of football. So very humbling, very grateful, very thankful to all my followers with PlayFast, everybody that watches what we do. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you turn the notifications on so you know that anytime that I post a video or anytime that I go on YouTube Live. I will be on YouTube Live sometime once or twice in the next week because we are on spring break next week, so I don't know how many videos I'll be able to record. If I am not up at school, I'll be here 3 days with workouts, but other than that, we are on spring break, so I'll be relaxing a little bit. So turn your notifications on, so if I go on YouTube Live, you know when I'm going on. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you like this video, great. If you don't, it's still great. Interaction is good either way. I don't get my feelings hurt when somebody puts a thumbs down. If you don't like it, that's your opinion. I still appreciate you watching. As always, leave a comment. Any comment you leave that I see on my end, I'm going to try to respond to. If it's a question, I'm going to try and answer it. If it's something about a video and I feel like I can do it justice, I'll try to do the video. So thank you to everybody, not only here in the States, but everybody worldwide that watches the channel. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for following and making PlayFast what it is. It's because of viewers, not because of the content. It's people watching the content, all right, that make the channel what it is. So thank you so much. Stay safe out there. If you're getting ready to play, good luck to you guys. If you're in your off season, keep working hard. Everybody works hard. Just try to make sure you're not being outworked by somebody else, so just keep working hard. Every program I know works hard, and they're all doing a lot of great things right now, so hats off to all football coaches that are in the off season right now, right? Remember, guys, you won't play well until you play fast, and I'll see y'all next time.